Today's sports coverage of the NFL. The bye weeks are over. It's all about football all the time as we're underway here in Week 13. This is fielded at the goal line. And a pretty good return here. He'll be stopped just shy of the 25 at the 24-yard line. So here are the Panthers now for their opening drive. And a glance here at the man calling the plays under center, their 6'4" quarterback. They go play action here on first down. Under a heavy rush, and down he goes. Well, these sacks are really piling up. Last week, it was a half dozen sacks. And here's one on the opening drive.
And it has the potential to be what we call a gap, a game-altering play. Because, let's face it, you just mentioned 6 sacks last week. Now, if you're an offense and you saw that on tape, you've got to think to yourself, maybe I bring people in, keep them in, and try and protect my quarterback. It didn't work on that play.
Now a handoff here to his running back. And a nice gain there as he'll be taken down just shy of the 20. 5 yards on the pickup. And they're going to face an uphill battle here on 3rd and long. And this O-line, it is the lifeblood of the offense.
They established the tone. Mean, nasty, physical. They can't wait to get after people. That allows the rest of the offense to feel confident.
I don't think this is the script they had in mind for their opening drive. This is 3rd and long.
All right, here we go.
Back to throw. Levy. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football.
On plays like this, when the ball comes free, it's often unusual for the team that lost it to get it back. Because this is the quarterback. The ball gets away from him. Everyone else is trying to execute what they're supposed to do on offense. They're usually looking in the other direction, downfield, or have moved away from him. In this case, though, a teammate is able to come up with the ball.
Here's Michael Pilardi now. And no room for error here as his first punt comes from deep in his own end zone. So possession goes over here on the punt. And the Giants will begin this drive in good shape. 1st and 10. So here are the Giants now in great field position to start their initial drive. And trotting out there, their tall quarterback standing at 6'5". Now James throwing on first down. And this is incomplete. And the big boys up front in the trenches. What do you think of the O-line, Charles?
I love them because this is a group that's so cohesive. They know what the man next to them is going to do at all times, and they operate as a terrific unit.
Offense still needing 10 yards. 2nd down.
Let's go. 3-19. 3-19.
They'll run it now out of the gun. And brought down, but able to get it to their 30-yard line. It's a gain of 11 yards that time, and it produces a new set of downs. Charles, they won last week despite him not running the ball well. They told us need to get him going. Runs like that help.
And they talked to us about leaning on him because, as you noted, last week they didn't have to. Still won the ball game. They leaned on other people to give them the yardage that they needed, but they really want him to be that guy, and that's what they're doing early in this game.
Now they'll run it on the toss. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. 12 more yards there and another first down. Well, one unit I know you want to watch is that offensive line. If they keep clearing holes like that, it could be a long night defensively.
No doubt about it, because when they are in sync, as we're seeing so far, when that continuity is there, and you can see that they're playing off of each other while controlling the defensive front linebackers, you're exactly right. It could be a very long night for the defense because someone's going to run for some big yardage.
2 yards on the pickup there. It'll be 2nd and 8. And the starting defense here for the Panthers.
Luke Kuechly has been so good that when scouts go out now looking for the next talent, they say they're looking for the next Luke Kuechly. Why? Speed, intelligence, toughness. They figure if they can find that in one package, they have found their next middle linebacker.
James to throw on 2nd down. And he's got it. And he will take it on in for a Giant touchdown.
And that's exactly what you're supposed to do with good field position. You make the other side pay when you don't have far to go for the score.
No going for 2. They'll kick the point after. It's up, it's good, and the Giants have a 7-0 lead. The drive summary that time, 5 plays. And it was finished off by a touchdown by the New York Giants. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. That'll be taken in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Here come the Panthers now, set to take over on offense. And to be frank, they're just in a tough spot. It's only November, already eliminated from playoff contention. I know their fan base doesn't want to hear that, but that's the case. What are they fighting for now going forward?
You know exactly what they're fighting for is that word that some people don't want to hear, but it's pride.
Draft. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to go draft, but pride's better, right?
Well, you know something? You're right, because that's part of it, but that's 2 different mindsets. That's front office mindset, draft position, where are we going to be and what do we need to get? And then the players and the coaching staff right now, pride. Can they win some games and feel better about themselves despite the fact they have no shot at the playoffs?
And after the play on the ground, that brings up 2nd down here. From the gun, Levy. And the hit jarred it loose. It's incomplete. And this pass defense, they were sensational in the win last week, and they're looking good here so far in this first quarter.
You know, we often talk about how offenses get locked in, and that runs over multiple games where they're really, in that zone. Defenses can be the...
And the Giant rush gets home as down he goes.
I'm starting to feel for that quarterback back there. I mean, you know me. Normally, don't have a lot of empathy for the QB, right? In this case, definitely. He's been on constant duress this entire game. I don't know how he's surviving back there.
And to think, there's still a long way to go in this football game. Here's Michael Pilardi now, as he'll kick it away for the 2nd time. Fielded at the 43. 33 yards is the distance on the punt there. Now this offense takes over in great shape right at the 50. 1st and 10. And New York set to take the field. And it's only November, but the playoffs, we know how it works. They'll be here before you know it. If it ended today, they would be the #1 seed.
And that's a great spot to be in. But I love the phrase, if it ended today. And I guarantee you, that's what they've discussed in their locker room, in their meeting rooms. Yeah,
And now the ball's out. Fumble near midfield. And the Panthers have recovered.
The psychology of the game never ceases to amaze me because you would think there would never be a fumble from what we hear from coaches all the time, right?
And how much they practice not fumbling.
Practice it, preach it, talk about it all the time. You would think no one would ever turn it over. Yet they are humans out there running around, and we just saw another one.
Opportunistic by the defense. Now the Panthers offense, they get set to come back onto the field. And this is their 3rd drive. Right now, maybe not about points, just about getting something. They haven't gotten a first down yet in this game.
It's a mental barrier you don't think about until you go a couple of drives without getting a first down. Then all of a sudden it looms big. It gets harder and harder to actually attain that first down.
Throwing to start the drive. Levy. And a big loss here as he's taken down.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
Looking to throw on second down. Levy. It's a short one here, complete to his tight end. It's a pickup of 12, and that'll set up a third down.
Head coaches always harp on the quarterback reading the defense and getting it to the open man. That's good recognition there. And how about what he did after the catch?
Yeah, hit your tight end, let him get some rack.
Yeah, when he gets moving, not many guys want to come over and put a hit on him, do they?
Now on third and long, they'll look to throw. And some room to work. And he fumbled it. It's on the ground. So the defense there, opportunistic.
It's nice to give them credit, isn't it? Because so many times it's more a matter of what the offensive guy didn't do. Didn't secure the ball, didn't cover up. In this case, let's just give credit to where it belongs. Knocked it free, made a big play.
And the Giants ready to come out now. And last drive, obviously not what you're looking for. You've got the lead. You've got to protect the football.
So in other words, someone got lucky because they've been moving the ball really well and wearing them down. In this case, though, giving up the football doesn't make them very happy. They can't wait to get back out there and atone for it.
Yeah, try to atone for it here on this drive. And a quick throw here, that's complete. And he'll be taken down at the 44-yard line. A good pickup there, 8 yards on the first down completion.
Well, if you do read man coverage, Brandon, the drag route's a pretty good one to run against it because you're running away from people on it.
They'll run it now out of the gun. And he'll get it down on the play to the 37. It'll go as a gain of 6 that time, and it moves the chains as well. Well, they're making an effort to get the ground game going tonight. So far, it's working. I
like what we're seeing from the offensive line. They seem to have the leverage going, and they're controlling things and reestablishing the line of scrimmage, moving that defensive front backwards. But also like what the runner's giving us, too. It appears that he's been waiting all day long to get out here and take off.
Let's go!
On 1st and 10, James. And the tip there altered the ball flight, and it falls incomplete. It'll be second down.
Really nice play by the guys on the defensive side of the ball, but for the guys on the offensive line, they're doing a nice job of trying to protect their passer. But when a guy hops in the air and goes airborne to try and knock one away, it's difficult because you can't reach out and grab him. That'll be a holding penalty. So all you're trying to do is make some type of a play on him, make some type of contact to try and get his arms out of the sky.
And he's going to get this inside the 30. 12 yards there as they move the chains.
Well, they came into this game saying it was important that they set the tone and show that they can run the football. And I believe that they've done that here in the first quarter.
Fresh set of downs here. Here's James operating from the gun, and that is incomplete.
There's so much precision in an offense, especially when you're throwing the ball. And in an out route, plenty of it. How about the quarterback hitting his back foot, ball's out of his hands, receiver making his break, making his cut. He's got to time up perfectly. Not always easy to do.
Just let him a little too much.
Yeah, I remember back in the good old days, I was talking to a quarterback, and he said everything they did was on the count system. So when he took the snap, he counted in his head for certain routes, different time frames for each one, and he knew if the ball wasn't out of his hand at that point, he'd better eat it because the play was dead. I know many people like to throw to the tight end, maybe in a little flexed out position because he creates mismatches with his size. But slot receivers do the same thing with their quickness, their speed, and their route running savvy. And the Panthers bring in their nickel set as they try to defend here on third down.
5 defensive backs. Looking to throw. James. That's incomplete, but there is a flag down, so hang on. A big call coming on third down.
Illegal touching. Offense.
So that one will be accepted. So the Giants now are going to turn it over to their field goal unit. This is a 40-yard attempt from the left hash. And his kick is right there. It's good. And the lead moves to 10-zip. So it's a 7-play drive, but it stalls out in the end.
Let's credit the defensive front seven. They were a little leaky at the start of the drive, but they stiffened toward the end.
The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. This fielded a few yards into the end zone. And he won't return this one. He'll go down to a knee, and they'll start at the 25. Now out comes their leader and the captain of this offense back onto the field. And he has not really been able to have a lot of comfort back there in the pocket. Pressure's been coming at him a lot, hasn't it?
And they've got to figure out how to tamp down that pressure. How do they decrease it? Is it getting rid of the football quicker? You know, shorter drops? Maybe they do something different with their pass blocking and their protection schemes. Maybe you meet them on the line of scrimmage instead of retreating to try and protect your quarterback. They've got to figure something out, though, because you cannot let your guy get hit that much, not if you intend to win.
I know they'd like to erase that video and those 4 sacks that they've seen so far.
In recent years, the slot receivers really gained stature in the NFL because they could do so many things. Yes, they can line up wide like your normal wide receiver, but to have that kind of courage and toughness to run routes in the middle of the field and become dependable targets for their quarterbacks and move the sticks, those guys are worth their weight in gold.
5 yards left for the offense. It's second down. And to give this time to the tailback. And he'll slip his way up across the 30 to the 32. It'll be a pickup of a couple, and it leaves him with a 3rd and 3. We haven't seen much from him running the football here in this first quarter.
No, you're right about that. We haven't seen much of him at all so far. They've stacked him up pretty well, but when you're trying to run the football, sometimes you got to play the long game. Keep handing it to him, and some of those runs that aren't working now, they turn into 6, 7, 8, and maybe more later on.
And he'll be limited to a short gain up to about the 34-yard line. Only a yard on the pickup there, and it's going to leave him with a 4th down.
4th and short, partner. I mean, this would be a really risky call. Here we are in the first quarter.
On your own side of the field.
Own side of the field. But, boy, what a tone setter that would be to go for it and get it, wouldn't it?
You're gritty today. I like it.
I'm feeling it.
Here's Michael Pilardi now as he's on to punt for Carolina. They bring the pressure as he gets this one away. And a fair catch signaled for and taken successfully. It'll be a 39-yard punt, no return. And it'll be Giant football 1st and 10. New York set to take the field. And they're not going to play this conservative, I don't think. They had the field goal last time, and they're up, but they're looking to put a drive in the end zone.
Oh, I agree with you totally. No one goes out on the field and says, all right, let's just settle for 3, except in certain situations, try to ice a game, that sort of deal. Most of the time, it ends up.
Pressure comes in. He's brought down. It's a Panthers sack. They were able to win last week despite him being sacked 4 times. They might need to tighten the reins a little bit, or this one may not end in another victory.
You're right about that. They can't count on just winning the game no matter what happens. They can't let the accumulation of hits and harassment in the pocket get to their quarterback. Got to stop that, give him clean lanes to throw the football in order to have a better chance to win again this week.
we will not see another play as time has run out on this first quarter. 10-zip our score. We're back to Uptown Charlotte after this timeout. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin, and it's the Giants with a football here as we begin quarter number 2. But they face a second and long to start things out. And he'll give it here to his running back. And they won't fare much better here as he maybe gets back to the line. No gain on the play this time, and it'll be a third and long situation coming up. He's fumbled already once, Charles. I'm not going to say that that was in his mind there, but I'm sure that during some of these plays he is mindful of it.
And once you fumble the ball, you know what your team tells you and your coaching staff? Take care of it. Rest of the game. And it does get in your mind a little bit, and sometimes that slows down your effort in trying to get free from tacklers.
And the defenders know it too. They sniff that out, don't they?
Everybody wants to swarm the football. You know what the rule is. First guy hold up the runner. Everyone else try and get there and strip the ball free.
They run the counter now on first down. And this time the yards won't come so easy as they'll, in fact, tackle him behind the line. They'll wind up losing 4 yards on the play. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 14. Back to throw. James looking left side, and he's got a man. It's Yoder. Only 3 yards on the catch. It's third down.
How about the timing on that one? Where they were in sync, weren't they? 3-step drop, balls out of his hands, right to the tight end. Nice completion, just like they do it in practice.
To throw is James on third down. And he's going to be wrapped up and driven down.
I remember when I was a kid and all I wanted was a nickel so I could get that soda down at the fountain. And guess what? The nickel came into play well. 5 defensive backs, they covered well, allowed for the sacks.
Sodas were a nickel when you were a kid?
No, I just needed the extra nickel so I could pay the proper price.
Okay, how much were they? A dime? What were they?
15 cents.
And the Giants send out their punter now as he's on to punt for the first time tonight. He punted 5 times in the win last week as this one's away. Fair catch signaled for and taken at about the 15-yard line. So a change of possession here on the punt. And the Panthers will take over now, 1st and 10. Now here's the signal caller getting ready to lead this offense again. He's playing pretty well. I don't think it's necessarily him changing up something he's doing, but that O-line, they've got to protect him better.
They do. They've got to make sure that they give him more than enough time in order to find targets downfield. And sometimes what happens when these things are going on is that the field general will step up and say, hey, that's on me, guys. I didn't get rid of it fast enough. Anything to try and relax them a little bit and take some pressure off because they do know that they are trying.
Yeah, well, we've seen the 4 sacks so far in this contest. 10 yards still left on 2nd down. Now a handoff here to his running back. And he'll take this up only to about his 18-yard line. It's a gain of about 3, but it's going to leave him with 3rd and still 7 yards to go.
Well, that's a good start to this drive on the defensive side of the ball.
Force the incompletion on first down. Then you're able to shut down the running play on 2nd.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised now. A little bit of pressure going at the quarterback in an expected passing situation.
On 3rd down, Levy out to the flat. That's complete to his running back. He'll wind up being stopped for no gain, and it'll lead to a 4th down.
That goes in the category of a play that the defense is going to cherish and excites them. A completion, yes, you give up the pass, but no gain. I mean, that's exactly what you want on defense.
It sets up the 4th down. He's still on his feet. It'll be a 10-yard return following a punt of 45. And possession will switch hands, 1st and 10. And here comes the Giants offense back out onto the field. They're out in front. Last time they had to punt it away. We'll see if they can add to their lead now.
They don't want to go out and punt it away again. This team now wants to get a cushion, put people away. They want to run their offense and have it end up in the end zone.
Going to give this time to the tailback. And he'll push his way up to about the 44 here. Just a yard on the pickup there, and it'll bring up a 2nd and 9.
Well, if the coaching staff's doing a good job upstairs, they'll file away what they just saw from the defense right there. They sold out to stop that running play. I'd say keep that in mind. They want to try that again, go play action, hit them over the top.
Trying to bounce it outside, but he's only able to get it back to the line of scrimmage. So nothing there, but maybe you blame that on the blocking.
Yeah, at some point, you've got to win at the point of attack. And on that play, that was all the defense. They made it happen.
James now to throw on 3rd down. He sets to fire deep. This is caught at the 20. Touchdown, Giants. A big play there. His 5th touchdown now on the year. And the Giants are able to grow their lead. And that time, he came out of the slot for that big play downfield for the score.
I think what we just saw there, partner, was what we call scheming a guy open. Put him in the slot, know that he has tremendous speed. What you're doing with your other receivers is likely running shorter routes to draw the attention closer to the line of scrimmage, to give him a chance to get downfield and turn it into a one-on-one route, often against the safety. You like your odds when he's running against the safety. His speed usually wins, and it did on that play.
He's got it, and it's 17-0. The drive there only spanning 3 plays, and it was polished off by a Giants touchdown. Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. This is taken just shy of the 10 here. And he'll take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. Here are the Panthers now as their offense comes back out onto the field. And still no points on the scoreboard. You're coming off of the 3 and out. They're just looking for anything to grab onto right now, aren't they?
I'm wondering if someone's going to take charge in the huddle. You know, we always look to the quarterback, but sometimes it's another player on the team, a star, a veteran, someone with some excitement and energy. It's like, all right, guys, let's shake things up and let's go, because they still have an opportunity to make things happen.
Shake it off. That's going to go as a loss of 2, and it'll be 2nd down.
When you're putting together a formula for winning defense, it's exactly what we're seeing in this game. Controlling the line of scrimmage, attacking, and changing everything so that now they're playing in the offense's backfield. They're playing an excellent game.
They'll lose a yard, and it brings up 3rd.
We just saw another example of how the defense is winning this game. Really at the point of attack, the offensive line is just getting pushed around. I think now as a play caller, you got to give them a little bit of help. Maybe you keep your tight ends a little bit more. Maybe the running backs help you a little bit with the pass blocking. But you've got to help them get some confidence, because you can't abandon the play calling right now.
And this throw will be intercepted. Picked off at the 25.
So it's 3rd and long, and you know this is going to be a pass. So defensively, they're bringing an extra defensive back and just blanket the field. And this is an ill-advised throw right here as it winds up being picked off easily.
And New York set to take the field. It's a quick turnaround for them after the turnover, but the way they moved it on their last drive, they're probably eager to get right back at it.
And you know me, and you know my tendencies in this situation. What do I want right now?
Be aggressive.
Be aggressive. Take your shot right here.
All right, here we go.
Now James on 1st down. No, bottled up. Fumble. It's out. It's loose. So they escape, so to speak, maintaining the football. Defensively, though, opportunity miss.
It definitely was, because that's all defenses talk about. Getting the football and either advancing it the other way or just getting possession and turning it over to their offense. That can be a little bit deflating. You're exactly right. A lost opportunity.
Here we go. Green, 39.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And he got blown up, losing yardage on the play back at the 44. And they'll lose a yard that time, and that's going to lead to a third down.
All right, partner, let's go back over the last couple of plays. Sack, loss of yards on a running play. Not exactly the sequence that an offensive coordinator gets comfortable with when calling plays.
The Giants on third down. They've been okay, 2 for 3 thus far. This is going to be 3rd and 13.
Here we go.
James off the play fake. Wide open receiver complete. And he gets it all the way down inside the 10 to the 5-yard line. They're able to convert on third down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
Now, that play will end up on the highlights, and you'll see it all over the place. But what you won't see, the offensive line that bought the extra time, that allowed for the big completion downfield, those guys made that play possible.
Here we go. Green, 39.
Now a handoff here to his running back. Give him 2 yards on that one. 2nd and goal now.
When we talk about Luke Kuechly, you can't talk about his overall game without talking about his intelligence and how he controls the whole defense. He quarterbacks that defense, and at times will actually make checks, just like a quarterback would on offense to get them into the right defense. They definitely were on that play. How about that finish? Holding that to a minimal gain.
Coming up at halftime, remember, we'll get you out to Larry Ridley in Orlando for highlights and analysis of this first half. That is, of course, unless you decide to skip him.
And for the record, we do not encourage that.
They come out here in the eye. And to give this time to the tailback. And he's going to get this back to the 3-yard line and no further. It'll go as no gain on the play, and now they're looking at a 3rd and goal.
His path became similar to almost running a stretch play, didn't it? Trying to find a crease, anywhere to put his foot in the ground and cut back. It just never materialized.
Here's James. Going to throw on 3rd and goal. And he's got it. Touchdown, Giants. Now he's having a nice little first half here, partner.
And it's a first half that leaves us anticipating what can still come. I mean, 2 touchdowns already here through the 2nd quarter. There could be plenty more before this game is over.
Now the try here for the point after. And the lead is now 24. A drive that time of 6 plays. And it was finished off by a touchdown by the New York Giants. Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. This will be fielded at the 6. And nice work on the return as they'll start their drive just past the 30-yard line. Here again comes the captain of this offense leading his crew back out there now. In 2nd quarter, they're down big already. He's struggling as well. They've got to find something here. He's got to find something on this drive.
And sometimes you take on all that extra pressure on yourself, and maybe you have to disperse it a little bit. Lean on some other people, lean on your teammates, find someone who can take the pressure off and get the ball in their hands for a while.
Or this, if he doesn't, this is getting out of hand, or it could get worse. Give him 11 yards that time and a new set of downs. On first down, Levy. And his throw is incomplete. Curtis Samuel, the one he was looking for. And that'll bring up second down. Some of the fans here don't seem too happy about what we've seen in this first half.
No, not at all, and I understand why. They've looked lethargic, out of sync, and it shows on the scoreboard.
All right, here we go. Green, 39.
Throwing again, Levy. And he can't get away from the pressure. The Giants get there. And now maybe they want some extra time to talk about this third and long play as we'll get a timeout. As they'll stop it with just over a minute to go before halftime. So we're back in the offense getting set following the call of that timeout.
Here we go now. Green, 39. Green, 39.
And he is hit pretty hard from the side as he's knocked down. Now the defense going to use the first of their timeouts. So as they take it over, we step aside. So the defense had a chance to catch their breath, and now they're back out and ready. Here's Michael Pilardi now, as he'll come on for his 5th kick of the night. His first punt, 48 yards. This one looks equally as good. Taken in at the 22. 12 yards on the return that time. And the offense will take over with a new set of downs. A look at the running back, the man out of the backfield as he gears up to go again. Now, the good news, his team's winning. The bad news, he hasn't had the game that he's hoped to, at least to this point here in the second quarter.
And a lot of that is pride, because these types of backs want to be in the center of all the action and leading their team to victory. They'll take the win right now, hoping to jump his game up as this one moves on.
And he probably wants a little bit more of the spotlight going forward. 23 yards on the play. Throwing on first down, James. And that will be incomplete. 4 ticks left here on the clock.
Right up to that point, I was about to say he's had a pretty good half catching the football, but let's just be honest about it. He should have caught that.
And he knows that. That was one right in his breadbasket and one he normally catches. And he'll give it here to his running back. And he's going to be taken down here as that will lead us to the end of the first half of play.
All right, Brandon, back to you and Charles in a bit. But first, let's get you caught up on all the highlights from the first half. The Panthers trail at home at halftime. The Giants will want to come out after the half and really put the pressure on from the start. So let's take a look at the highlights from the first half. Giants with the football midway through the first. James is going to find his mark, and it ends up working for a touchdown. Giants with the early advantage. About halfway through the second, James is able to find his mark deep downfield, and this 2-play drive goes for a touchdown. Panthers on offense midway through the second. The pass ends up being picked off. Giants defense happy to get off the field. Now following the pick, Brooks able to make the catch in traffic. And this 5-play drive goes for a touchdown. The lead now in 24. That'll do it for us here at EA Sports Studios. Let's get back out to Brandon and Charles for the call of the second half. Brandon.
This one fielded at the 5. And a good effort on the return there. Gets him across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Here's the Giant offense now as they get ready to take over here. They built a good first half lead. Now they have a chance to add on to it.
And what I'm thinking is that the offensive staff spent the entire halftime just working with them on, here's what we think they're going to do to attack us in the second half. Nice first half that we've had, guys, but be prepared for some change-ups. We're going to see them when we kick it off in the second half.
See how they handle any adjustments that might be made defensively. Well, the numbers have been good in the passing game, and certainly a big reason why they have the lead. But now here, third quarter, maybe go to the run game a little more?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, after that incompletion, a little credit to the defense for shutting them down on that play. Maybe you try and run the football a little bit more in this spot. But they have to feel good about how they've been throwing it overall.
And he comes back with one complete. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. A really nice pickup of 14 yards, and it moves the sticks. And he's certainly been a huge factor in this when he's got the 2 touchdowns to his credit. Now they look to him again. He picks up the first.
Yeah, I can hear everyone saying, well, why don't you cover him, double him, triple him, do what you have to do. But sometimes they get locked into such a groove and such a connection, it doesn't matter how many guys are in his area.
He certainly looks to be in that groove right now. To throw is James on 1st and 10. And he is out of bounds, just a yard or 2 shy of the 30. A good pickup there of 22.
Partner, it's a lot of fun watching the NFL now, isn't it? Because when the big fella runs routes, it used to be when we were kids, he'd run about 3 different routes, and that was it. Now he can run anything and catch the balls we just saw there.
James now throwing on 1st down. Quick hitter here, it's complete. And they'll be inside the 25 now at the 24. A good pickup there, 8 yards on the 1st down completion.
Good throw, good catch, but I really like the route. The drag and being able to run away from defenders, hard to stick with them for that long.
Yeah, better against man than zone, or?
Better against man, because now you're running away from someone and you're not running into a defensive player in another zone.
And he'll get a couple here down to the 22.
You know that old expression, it's not my night? It hasn't been his so far. I don't know if the legs are a little bit heavy. Sometimes having to hang out all day and play doesn't exactly play to your advantage, but it's been a tough go for him.
And every time he looks up, somebody's there defensively. That was the same case on that play.
Let's go! Green, 39!
On 3rd and short, they'll try and pick it up through the air. And Adams has it complete. A gain of 4 that time as the drive continues.
Many different ways to create space, but on that play, he did it with that big, wide body of his. Didn't get a whole lot of yardage on the play, but it did what it was supposed to. Pick up a 1st down.
And the next snap coming inside the red zone here. From the red zone now, they'll look to throw. The left side throw complete to Adams. A gain of 6 there on 1st.
Nice rhythm throw there on 1st down. He located his tight end, made a nice easy pitch and catch.
Hoping he can break a tackle or 2. Wasn't able to do that there, but still good yardage. They'll run it now out of the gun. And he'll be dropped at about the 11 after only a yard.
Well, they certainly had success throwing the ball on this drive, and not as much running it as we just saw once again on that last play. Stopped after a very short gain. But I wouldn't abandon the run totally, because otherwise, pass rushers just tee off on your quarterback. It makes it very, very difficult for him in that situation.
And he takes it inside the 10 to the 8 before he's out of bounds. Call it a gain of 3, and that's going to make it 4th down.
Whether you're playing West Coast offense or not, one of the maxims of the West Coast offense is you're either throwing a touchdown or a check down. In other words, look for the big shot, but be smart. I think they did exactly that on that play. They didn't get the 1st down, but they're taking care of the ball well.
Yeah, and being rightly cautious with that lead here in the 2nd half. So in the end, they had the ball for 10 plays, but the drive only yields 3 points.
Yeah, they were able to move the football, but the defense stiffened once their backs were to the end zone, and they were able to hold them to just 3.
The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. This is fielded at the chalk of the 10. And he'll take this across the 25, couple extra yards up to the 27-yard line. The Panthers offense now, they head back on the field for their first possession of the second half. These guys had to punt their last possession, and that's become too familiar of a refrain. Too many of these drives just wound up going nowhere.
But you know how in baseball, when the pitcher gets a base hit and he's on base, they bring his jacket out to him to keep him warm? A lot of times the punter goes to the sideline, puts on sweatpants or a wrap over his leg to keep it warm. He might need a massage from the trainer right now from all the work he's getting.
And able to stay on his feet past the 30 to about the 33-yard line.
Let's talk a little football 101 here, because one of the keys to advancing the ball downfield, success on first down. Huge difference, as we know, between 2nd and 4 and 2nd and 8 and 9.
To throw on second down, Levy. That is incomplete.
Personally, I think they've got to go somewhere else with the football. They've got it bracketed out there in double coverage. Makes it hard to fit it in time after time.
It would have had to have been an absolutely perfect pass and not good enough. The Panthers on third down, as bad as you can be. 0 for 7 thus far. This is 3rd and 4. Looking to throw. Levy. And the giant rush gets home as down he goes.
This has been a tough one for this offensive line. It appears almost like they've been on roller skates this entire game, the way they've been pushed around. 6 sacks given up in this one.
Here's Michael Pilardi now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. .44 on his first punt, and this is a good kick as well. Fielded at about the 28. Almost outkicked his coverage there. 48-yard punt, but 10 on the return. And out will come the offense as they take over. Here comes the field general leading his offense back out there for the next possession. He has been consistent, hasn't he? He played well in the first quarter, good second quarter, and now continuing that here in the third.
And that's the word that they're always seeking from the guy taking the snaps, is consistency. Taking care of the ball, making sure it gets to the right people, no errors, right? Not turning it over, and just doing all the right things. That's leadership, and it inspires confidence in a team.
Yeah, been a good leadership and a good distributor.
It's real easy to say this running game needs to be better, but the reality is they've been given little time to actually find a place to run the football. It's almost like the defense is there on the handoff.
Now a handoff here to his running back. And he'll get this up to about the 40. It'll be a 5-yard pickup there. So from 2nd and 13, they're back to a more manageable 3rd and 8.
Third quarter and you've got the lead. You're not ready to go into that 4-minute offense to close the game out, but a running game can really benefit your team right now.
Let's go! Green, 35!
Now James on 3rd down. Firing quickly here, and that's complete. And he'll go down right around the 47 this time. They get 7 there, but it brings up 4th.
So much about offense is what you call hidden yardage. You know, you throw the ball to someone, they catch it, and then they can make a big play. You know, they create a play, run after catch. They did a really nice job there of limiting that and keeping him from a first down.
Yeah, stopped him in his tracks. And the Giants send out their punter now as he'll punt it away for the second time. And the kick's away as he angles this one for the sideline. And this punt will go out of bounds. I think it'll be inside the 25, and it will. Right at the 24-yard line is where they'll spot it. Carolina getting set to take the field. These guys had to punt last time. It has not been a very fruitful game offensively thus far. They haven't even made a trip to the red zone. And
I know that everyone's going crazy on that sideline because that drives you berserk to come off the field, not really move the ball well. As you said, not even get to the red zone, let alone, not even put points on the board. They've got to just take a deep breath, relax, try and figure out what is working, and call more of that.
5 yards is the tally on first down. That brings up 2nd and 5.
Well, they're hoping that the second half is better for him than the first half. They've got to find a way to get him going. He's a big part of their offense.
Off play action. Levy. And his throw here's incomplete. The Panthers on third down. It has been a disaster. 0 for 8 thus far. This will be 3rd and 5.
Green 39.
Back to throw. Levy. And he's got Fitzgerald. And he will have a first down here at about the 40. A nice pickup there of 11 yards, and it'll move the sticks.
Would it be safe to say that as precise as routes are supposed to be run in the NFL, maybe they're not quite as precise in college ball?
That's accurate, yeah.
And I think we saw a college route in the NFL there. Just find the soft spot, find the dead zone, and find the first down. And that's what he just did.
10 yards on the pickup there, and it'll be 2nd down.
So many times you hear today's NFL described as a space game. Get your best players into space with the football in their hands. That's why sometimes you just swing it out to your runner, get him out in the flat, and let him have a chance to make people miss an open field.
And no escaping this time as he'll go down. They got him for a sack.
And that's his 2nd sack of the game, but this player, disruptive in all phases, whether he's going upfield, coming underneath, you name it. He's a big-time guy you have to block.
The Panthers on 3rd down. A very anemic 1 for 9 thus far. This is 3rd and 9.
Hang on now. 319.
Operating from the gun. Levy. And Corliss has it. And he takes this one down all the way near the 30. They give him 27 yards on the 3rd down conversion. And now a first down following that long gain. A handoff as they run the counter play. And after the good gain last play, this time they say, as he's going to be stopped behind the line of scrimmage.
I think it's pretty evident. We can say what a difference a week makes. Last week, he ran pretty much wild, didn't he? Did pretty much what he wanted to do. But this one, they've stopped him cold. That, to me, that's good scouting and even better execution.
Yeah, and they stopped him behind the line right there. They obviously watched the tape a few times and made some adjustments. Looking to throw on 2nd down. Levy. And he's going to lose yardage here, as they will switch ends as time is run out on this 3rd quarter of play. 1 quarter remains here as we wrap up the week on a Monday night. We'll return with more after this. This is the NFL, and it's on EA Sports. And we're back now in Charlotte. A lot of folks starting to make their way to the parking lot. Their guys trail big here to begin quarter number 4. Throwing on 3rd and long. Levy. Into double coverage, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Andrew Adams. And his guys are going to take over at the 21-yard line. Thought they had something going there to break that goose egg here in the 2nd half, but to no avail.
Hope was alive until that interception. What a terrific play, taking the ball away after it looked like they were starting a drive.
And now that shutout still standing. You know that's something those defensive guys hold a lot of pride on, too.
No doubt about it. They are excited about where they are in this game.
New York set to take the field. They've got the lead. Last time had to punt it, though. What's the key to this drive?
I think it's leverage.
The
leverage. Big guys up front. You know the motivational speech on the sideline is, guys, give us an opportunity. Protect the passer, create space for our runners, and let's go ahead and get these guys. Low man wins. Let's go do it on this drive.
We'll watch that leverage on this drive. And they're behind the sticks here a bit now, dealing with a 2nd and 12.
Here we go. 319.
James, off play action. He's going to fire one deep left sideline. So the long attempt falls innocently to the ground, and it brings up 3rd. fourth quarter, you've got the big lead. If you're coaching, Charles, you still taking shots like that downfield?
I'd be a little more concerned with running some clock and making sure you're taking care of the lead, because you keep flinging it around, you throw a couple of picks, you can put yourself in jeopardy.
Here's James to throw on third down. And he's taken down. Back at his own 7.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
And the Giants send out their punter now, as he'll come on to kick this one away. And he puts a little something extra into this one, by far his best of the night. And we'll see what he can do on the return. 62 yards on the punt that time. Wow. The Panthers offense here, they get ready to head back on the field. And there are parts of their last drive they'd like to emulate. And, of course, they'd like to forget the inning, the interception. But they did put together, Charles, a nice sustained drive to get him down the field. Yeah, and unfortunately for them, the only thing that matters is part 2, right? Because once they threw the interception and finished off the drive, that does them no good to go back and say, well, you know, we had a good one going. Finish things off. Now a loose football. The ball comes out. But fortunately, he's able to recover his own fumble, and that could have been trouble. And defensively, maybe an opportunity miss there. No doubt about it. When that ball's out, all you're thinking about as a defender is, this is our chance to make a huge play. Instead, he's able to recover his own fumble. And big sigh of relief, huh? Yeah, usually those wide receiver fumbles, there's open space around for the defense, but not there. He hops right back on it. The fumble, but they're able to maintain possession. Now it's second down.
Hurry up, here we go. 3-19. 3-19.
From the gun, Levy, nowhere to go here. He lost the football. Call it luck or skill, whatever the case is, they're feeling good about just keeping the football there. Yeah, the biggest thing that they're calling it now, our ball. I mean, they don't care if it was luck or skill. Boy, the panic that jumps up in your chest when that ball's on the ground, whether you get it or your teammate gets it, just as long as you maintain possession, that's all you're looking for. The Panthers on third down. They've converted just twice and have had plenty of opportunities. This is 3rd and 7. Looking to throw. Levy, and able to catch it on the left sideline, but they're going to rule him out of bounds. So it'll be incomplete, certainly one they'd like to have back as it brings up 4th down. A 3rd down, he tried to stay in bounds, did all he could. He caught it, but was led a little bit too far. Yeah, and that's always difficult, isn't it? Because you know half of your body is trying to stay behind while the other half is reaching out, trying to catch the football. The top half worked. It was the bottom half that was in question. And he's taken down, but not before getting this across midfield and just shy of the 40. It's a gain of 20 that time. And it'll be 1st down, Panthers. 4th down, trailing in the 4th quarter. They felt compelled to go for it, and they got it. Well, I'd look down at my play sheet, and what I would find, plays that have been successful throughout the game that have worked at the distance you need. And that's exactly what they got done. So after that big gain, let's see what else the offense has up its sleeve.
Here we go. 3-19.
Now a play fake here on 1st down. And Corliss with it over the middle. And he is down deep into Giant territory. Giving 30 yards there. There will always be a place for methodically marching the ball downfield. But when you can pick it up in big chunks and strike like that, have explosive plays, that's often the difference in winning and losing. Those types of plays that can knock a defense off balance, that'll drive a team towards a victory. So after that big play, let's see if they can catch their defense maybe on their heels.
3-19.
Now whistles. Flag down, and I believe one of the Panthers got moving early.
False start, offense.
So that'll back him up 5. So the penalty by the offense, and now they face a 1st and 15. And they give this time to the tailback. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. It's a 5-yard pickup, so essentially they get the penalty yardage back, and it's back to 2nd and 10.
Not too many offenses want to turn down long drives, but when you're down what they are, they've got to pay it off with some points.
All right, now, lucky 56. Lucky 56.
To throw on 2nd down. Levy throwing for his running back, and he's got him complete. And he's going to be brought down just shy of the 5 at the 6. It's a 4-yard pickup, and that'll bring up a 3rd down.
Everyone's got to be able to catch the football. Doesn't matter what position you play, but if you're on offense, be aware a ball may come your way.
Green 39. Green 39.
To throw on 3rd down. Levy. His pass caught at the 4. And he'll take this into the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina. So they will get on the scoreboard here. Give them credit for that. Too little, too late, but no 0. Oh, you're going slow clap on me.
Not very nice, is it?
No, but they haven't been very nice on offense. It's been a struggle. Graham Gano on for the extra point. It's up and good, and it makes it 27-7 now. So that drive in total 8 plays. And Carolina scores to cap it off. The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. And a short kick, taking it about the 16. And they're going to start this drive in pretty good shape as they get it up past the 30. The Giants offense now, they get ready to head back on the field. And on the last go-around, they really couldn't get anything going.
They had to punt from deep inside their own territory, which means they're going to lose the field position battle as a general rule. What they're looking for now is a little more consistency, move the ball at least a few times on offense, get a couple of first downs, and hopefully flip the field.
Yeah, just something to build off of. That's what they're looking for here. And he'll lose yardage here, going down back at the 28. That'll set him back with a loss of 3 on the play. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 13.
Brandon, it's all about pace and tempo now for them. They've got the advantage, so I'm going to put musical terms for you. You don't want to go prestissimo. That's too quick, too lively, right? But you also don't want to slow it down too much. You don't want to go lento. What you really want to be is moderato. Nice and even, nice and steady, get those gains, and close out the game.
I think that chicken parm from last night's gone to your head. Back to throw. James toward the sideline, and look at that catch. Dragging the toes, and that's going to be a first down. Well done. And give him 17 yards that time as that'll move the chains. Still throwing the football here, even with the big lead.
Yeah, I know you and I came up in a different era, and we think about sportsmanship and all that. Other people think about fantasy points and getting their numbers. That's all they care about right now.
They'll need to get the play off quickly.
Green 39. Green 39.
And they're going to take it all the way down and just take the delay.
Delay of game, offense.
And that'll set them back 5.
Still first down.
Looks like the defense in press coverage here. And he'll give it here to his running back. And he will be brought down at about the 43 that time. He'll get 3 of those penalty yards back here, leaving him with a 2nd and 12.
I like a guy who understands the situation. I also like a guy who you look at him and you say, that looks like a guy who knows the coach is going to say, guess what? You drop this one, you'll be carrying around the training facility for an entire week.
Maybe flashback to high school or college, carrying it around campus, right?
The old gauntlet drill, right? Anyone get the ball out while he's sitting in class and bring it back to the coach? He's in big trouble.
They'll look to throw for it on 3rd and 1. Throw left side complete. That's Brooks. And he'll be brought down, but a tip of the cap on the spin move as that gives him a first down. 17 yards on the pickup there. The drive will continue. It's a first down.
Now that's a big pickup right there, and so often we focus on how the quarterback's faking on play action. How about everyone being in on the deal and picking it up?
Second, third levels, you could see them trying to recover. They bit. Worked out offensively. Time running out here on the play clock. Now a handoff here to his running back. And he went backwards. He'll be down at the 30. It's a loss of a yard there, and now second down.
Brandon, it's clearly a running situation when you're up in the fourth quarter. They're going to have to stack the box and make it difficult for them to move the ball.
Made it very difficult right there. Now they need to repeat that effort.
Yeah, bring 7, 8, 9, whatever it's going to take to slow them down.
No gain that time, and it leaves them with 3rd and 11 coming up. The Giants on 3rd down. They're hitting at 60%, 6 out of 10 thus far. This is 3rd and 11. So it's Giants football here as we welcome you back. They've got a 3rd down now as they look for one more first down to help salt this one away. Now a handoff as they run left side. And he will lose yardage here to the 31-yard line. A loss of a yard, and it brings up 4th.
Every year I go to the combine and marvel at the speeds that linebackers are running nowadays. They run like DBs. And let's face it, they know how to finish plays too. Eyes up, head up, run right through them.
So it's 3 more points, and that widens things out even further here in the 4th.
Hey, in this league, you can never have too much. So if you're in range, grab the 3 whenever you can.
And he'll get across the 20 before he's brought down at about the 23-yard line. Out comes this field general once more, leading his offense back onto the field. And those numbers, they kind of tell the story of his game so far. Started off not so hot. Now he's really heated up.
And remember, he signed up for duty as the guy who leads the team, right? The field general, the signal caller.
And he can't get away from the pressure. The Giants get there. Now you've got to hustle your guys to the line and get them set. Looking to throw on 2nd down. Levy caught on the left side. Fitzgerald. Throwing on 3rd and long. Levy got his target, Samuel. And he will have a first down as they get him to the ground at the 37. A good pick up there of 20 yards. On 1st and 10, Levy. And no escaping this time as he'll go down. They got him for a sack. They're going to need to get up and set in a hurry. To throw on 2nd down, Levy. Under pressure again, and down he goes again. Now the Panthers going to use the first of their timeouts as the clock will stop with 21 seconds to go in the football game. Throwing on 3rd and long. Levy, he's going to let it fly. And that is incomplete. Down to 15 seconds now.
Got to be wary of throwing an interception here because the defense knows they're going to get tested deep. That's why they're going to put a couple of extra guys back there to try and prevent that.
Yeah, late in the 4th quarter here, trying to preserve the lead. All right, they're going to try and keep hope alive here on 4th down. They're going for it. Got to try it here. He's back to throw. And that's going to be incomplete. 12 seconds left. They had to go for it with such little time remaining. And, boy, possession here turns over with the football already being in the red zone. Down to a knee here. The defense still with a couple of timeouts. We'll see if they want to use them. A road win in the National Football League. Charles, you never take that for granted no matter who you're playing, no matter where you're playing.
You take it and you run with it. And you know you primed the pump all week in your own home facility. No one thinks we can do this. Only people who believe are right here in this room. And then you go on the road, band together, and get it done.
So for the Giants, they continue to keep pace for that first-round bye as they move to 11-1. And they'll return home next week to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Meanwhile, for Carolina, it's another week with more questions than answers as they fall to 3-9. And they'll look to get back on track next week as they travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. So that'll do it for us. For my partner, Charles Davis, and all the hard-working men and women on our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL right here on EA Sports. From Charlotte, good night, everybody.